even though these are the regular CV terms that we use all the time, I think my story, when considering the historical aspect of Turkey and the context that we went through, is a revolutionary one because of two reasons. First of all, is that when you see the structure of Turkey, and let me get the timer just in case, I promise you. When you see the structure of Turkey, how the politics was structured, we see MPs that actually inherit their positions, and we see, I work with MPs that have been in politics, that have been serving in the parliament more than 6 terms. They have been there for 7 terms, and 1 term is a 5-year. Can you imagine? They have been holding those positions and not leaving any place for women, because the percentage was 4% for women. It's more than 20 now. Not leaving any space for young people. We were not even allowed to be in politics before Erdogan. And they were not there because of their intellectual capacity or their amazing political skills. They were there because of their family status and because of their family status, probably. And I, on the other hand, come from a family that never met a politician, let alone having one in our family. And yet I stand here today in the British Parliament as a 29-year-old woman with 8 years of experience as a member of Parliament. I know that this is because a man in Turkey broke down the barriers that once prevented women, young people, and those outside those elite political circles entering politics. So it is really important to have you all in here, because we never know who's going to break the barriers, for the others also. And the second reason that I think my being in politics and being here is a revolutionary one is because people like me, women like me, who were wearing headscarf, which is the half of the women almost in Turkey, they were not allowed to be in politics. They were not allowed to be in public sector. They were not allowed to be in universities. Even my mother was denied education for high school, for universities, just like all the other women wearing headscarf. Half of the women in Turkey. And it's not a long time ago, It wasn't until 2013 that we had MPs with headscarves. And they had to campaign without their headscarves. How humiliating it is. And it's always the women, it's never the men who are suffering. And it was 1999 when a first female MP entered the parliament. She's an inspiration to us. I know she spoke here in the House of Lords too. You know what happened? She was booed. She was taken out of the parliament, not allowed to take an oath. And worst thing is that it continued in the society too. She was humiliated in one of the most popular TV series. And imagine being a girl growing up, me, watching those TV series. Can you imagine being an MP? No, I have never even thought of it. When I saw my name in the nomination list of Erdogan, the President Erdogan, as the executive board members, weeks after I make a speech before him and thousands of people in our debating tournament in university, I did not believe that it was really me, because I didn't believe politics were made for women like me, half of the nation, So I think it's really important to be here and to present. It's also important to see that, what's really important. It's not the bridges that he built. It's not the hospitals only. When people ask me, why is he keeping winning? Keeps winning, What is his secret? Is it because of his charisma? I say, yes, charisma is invaluable, but charisma doesn't promise you trust for decades. What does is that he shattered the glass ceiling of women that once defined the limits of women. How far we could go. He shattered them for us and for young people and for those people who were outside the political circle, that elite circles, So I think it's really proud proud to share this as a citizen other than being an MP. And also, we didn't just have a place on the table for women, we also did this structurally, empowered women structurally. We increased the percentage from 4% of the women representation in the Grand National Assembly to more than 20%. Is it enough? No, that's why we still have a lot to do. We tripled the number of women accessing to the universities. We increased it more than 50%, the number of women in the workforce. We're trying to do more for the women who are also mothers. We're trying to encourage childcare in the workplaces. We're trying to encourage daycare for women, and we're also now doing financially empowering and supporting women who prefer to take care of their kids in their houses, because it's also important for them not to care about their salaries and their jobs. So I think it's very important, and I think this really sums up the objective of being a politician, which was my title, Objective and Challenges. This is the objective, this is the opportunity. Because you get to help thousands of people, millions of women through systematic changes. But of course, there are many challenges too, and I can talk about challenges for hours. As someone who have experienced lots of challenges in politics, I can talk about them, and I'm sure you would also have lots of stories to tell. First of all, if you are the pioneer and if you're untraditional, you get to criticize more than the others. And me and most of the pioneers in here, when we tell people to imagine an MP, they don't depict a woman, It's almost never a young woman, it's almost never a young woman with headscarf. So I'm not very lucky in politics, you can assume. Study also reveals that women in politics receive at least 3 times more online harassment and lookism than men. So the backlash is not only political when you don't fit the centuries-old image of what a leader looks like. It's also personal. They attack you, the way you talk, the tone of your voice, what you're wearing, how you speak, and they even question whether you should be in the room at all. And that's very tiring. As I said, I can speak for hours. But they don't do it for the others that much. But honestly, even though there are many things that I can count right now, I think I personally, in my own story, I was able to use this hatred and this harassment as a fuel for myself to improve myself, my team, and my leadership all the time. To never take a rest, I'm not advising it, it's very tiring to do, but this actually worked for me at this point. But honestly, talking here about the challenges I faced, including online harassment, including people judging me all the time, doing the things that all the 600 MPs were doing, being the headline for the regular things for others were also doing, receiving threats, my mom being called, even my family members being reached and said bad things. This is very, very tricky. I think I have a very rare experience because I was a pioneer. I don't think any of the pain that I suffered is more than the people in Gaza are suffering. So if we are to talk about empowerment and safety of women, I think it would be incomplete if I do not mention them, because safety is it's an impossible luxury for the women in there. And I think I cannot just celebrate my progress in Turkey when in just one part of the world, when the other part is suffering, not having basic human rights.